Hello my dear students, and here we meet again, virtually of course, for our new online class. And the topic of my online class is Philosophical Aspect in the Lesson Strong Roots by APJ Abdul Kalam. Before I start my lesson, I would like to give you some brief information. So we have divided strong roots into two parts. So the first part has been already done by Mr. Raja Lama sir, a renowned teacher of Central XII School. He has given you an elaborate information on the residence, communal harmony, about the activities of Abdul Kalam's father, and all the details like regarding town and all into his previous video. So now the second video consists of the philosophical aspect where Abdul Kalam's father talks about the relevance of prayer, talks about adversity, and gives his vision of destinies, two different views of destiny in the second part of the lesson. So I will be basically focusing on the second aspect of the lesson. So before we start, I will like to repeat the drill, that is, you all must have your book in front of you, have a pen or pencil in your hand, and then watch the video. As you all know that Abdul Kalam's father was a very simple, austere and disciplined man. He started his day at 4 a.m. by reading namaz, and he always used to take Abdul Kalam with him to the mosque for evening prayers. So in that way, Abdul Kalam was acquainted with the idea of prayer. And in one particular instance, when he asked his father about the relevance of prayer, his father said, "Prayer is a communion of spirit between people. When you pray," he said, "you transcend your body and become a part of the cosmos, which knows no division of wealth, age, caste or creed." I feel this is the most beautiful line that I have ever come across while reading the text. This is very profound. Our religion, like in terms of world, there are so many world religions such as Hindu, Islam, Christianity, Sikhism, Buddhism, Jainism and so on. We have our own ways to pray to God. But how do we connect to the higher authority, to the divine authority, or someone whom we call as God? That is with the help of prayer. And when we sit just to pray, to reach to that God or to that divine authority, we try to close ourselves and try to connect with the divine form. What happens? There's a communication between the God, divine manifestation, and with our spirit. And we at that time, we become a part of the world. In fact, more than world, he says a cosmos of the entire creation. We become the part of the entire creation that has no boundary, that has no division of caste, creed, color, race, or whatever. And that particular time we reach to that level where we have or believe or have or realize the sense of oneness, belongingness. Panuka matlab, there is no division. When we say division of caste, creed, religion, that is the division created by human beings. So Sojana, when we sit and pray, fold our hands and pray to God and try to connect ourselves to that divine form, what happens? There is no such boundary. We feel a sense of oneness with that God, right? And that particular time you don't feel anything. If you pray for the world, if you pray for, like, since Corona is all over and we are having a very depressing time right now, so if all the people from different community come together and pray with one motive, our objective is one, our motive is one, that is to heal the world, right? And if we collectively sit and pray, at that particular moment, when we pray to that divine God, there is no such boundary that we feel. I'm sure a person who prays will not say, let my people, people of my community only have all these things. No, right? You never have such discriminations in your head. You always have a limitless boundary. That is, there's no boundary at all, in fact. So you become a part of that huge creation and, pray to it and feel a sense of oneness. How deep it is, isn't it? So this is what Abdul Kalam's fathers say, and tell him that there is no such division when you pray and try to reach that divine manifestation or God. And that is how it makes him feel that, okay, there is no such division, there is no narrowness, and that is how you, overcome the feeling of separateness, or overcome the feeling of hatred and anger when you sit and pray. Have you seen anybody who has sat to pray getting angry? No, right? Whenever he or she sits to pray, they always have a very calm mind and the calm posture when they pray selflessly. So this is the relevance of prayer, what Abdul Kalam's father is trying to say, that there is no such boundary when we try to reach the higher self, the higher manifestation, divine manifestation. So this is the pathways. The communion of spirit means the communication of spirit, of the divine manifestation, to communicate through soul. And you transcend your body, you become a part of, actually your spirit becomes a part of entire cosmos, part of the creation. And then that cosmos has no division of wealth, age, caste or creed. And that's how prayer becomes beautiful, and that's how you connect yourself to the divine being or higher authority, divine authority or God. Now, after talking about the relevance of prayer, Abdul Kalam's father, Yangchen L, talks about adversity. He says, every human being is a specific element within the whole of the manifest divine being. So why be afraid of difficulties, sufferings and problems? When trouble comes, try to understand the relevance of your sufferings. Adversity always presents opportunities for introspection. So we are human beings, right? Every human being is different from the other. We are born with a purpose. Our existence has a purpose. We have come into this earth for a reason. Because as he says, we are a part of a divine manifestation. We are a part of a creation. God himself has created us. So definitely there has to be a reason for our existence. And whatever happens in our life, whether it is good or bad, everything happens for a reason. It's a normal human tendency that when a good thing occurs to human being, we never question, right? We are happy. But when bad things occur, when we are hit by sorrow, we start questioning, why me? When we fall ill, why me? Why not anybody else? Why everything is happening only to me? What happens at that particular moment? We start questioning ourselves, our existence. And that particular moment, Yangchen L says, don't worry. We should not be afraid of all the miseries, all the deprivations that comes to our life. It happens for a reason. If our existence is for a reason, then the sorrow that we receive in our life, that we have to face in our life, is also for a reason. And he says, that's why he says the relevance of your suffering. Instead of cribbing over the sorrow or crying over your sorrow or illness or whatever thing, you have to question about the importance of your sorrow or suffering. For instance, I will give you one example. Okay, suddenly a person falls ill. Okay, a person is unhappy. A person is having certain problem in his life, going through anxiety, as in terms of students are going through anxiety problem, depression problem. You're having some sort of, problem in your body. You're not happy. So instead of just sitting and, crying over your suffering, you have to ask yourself, why am I not happy? Why am I not being able to, satisfy myself, or why am I not happy? That is the first question you should do. What is the reason for my suffering? And when you introspect, then you will get to know the reason. So apparently the reason for your depression or anxiety is because of your ill mental health, or because of your bad environment, or basically when you are ill, it has to be because of your lack of nutrients in your body. So apparently if you boil down, you will understand the reason of your suffering. सो हामीले चाहिँ जहिले पनि जब दुःख हाम्रो जिन्दगीमा परिआउँछ नि त्यति बेला instead of crying, instead of questioning, instead of getting angry over it or feeling bad or sympathetic towards self, you just have to ask yourself, why? What is the cause for this suffering? What is the root cause of this suffering? मलाई यो किन भएको छ? मलाई किन depression problem हुँदैछ? Probably because the environment in which I am living is not good. Okay, so likewise, if you are ill, you have to go and check and see a doctor. Probably you have lack of nutrients in your body. If you are not happy at home, if your family is not happy at your home, it's probably because of your studies. Maybe you are not studying well, maybe you are not scoring well. So you have to have a particular solution for that problem. If you introspect, you'll get to know, you'll have the idea and solution for your own suffering. That's why Abdul Kalam's father Yangchen L beautifully says that adversity always presents opportunities for introspection. जब जब हामीलाई दुःख आइपर्छ त्यति बेला चाहिँ हामी बसेर चाहिँ सोच्नु पर्छ, what is the reason for this suffering? Okay, and that particular moment when you question, you will get your own solution. In this way, he beautifully tells his son, Mr. APJ Abdul Kalam, that adversity always gives you chance to introspect, to think over the particular matter. Our existence has a reason. Our living has a purpose. Our happiness and sorrow both have a reason. And that's why introspection is necessary. Whether it's good, whether it's bad, introspection, thinking over that particular matter is highly essential, is what he says. So after hearing about his father's perspective on adversity, Abdul Kalam says his father, and why don't you say this to the people who come to seek your help? And Abdul Kalam's father in turn says he cannot send away those people who come to him with much hope and faith, believing that he will drive away their sorrow. Okay, so since millennium in India or in places, this idea of superstitiousness is practiced. Okay, it's believed, they have believed in the practice of worshipping the spirits and all these things. So people generally believe that if anything bad happens to them, is basically because of the spirits are angry at them, and therefore they have to face this kind of suffering. So they always look for a prophet or any other people to help them to drive away their sorrow. And at this particular moment, Abdul Kalam's father acts as a helper to these people, to satisfy those demonic forces and to all those souls. So that's why he says, I am, but he is like a go in between in their effort to propitiate, to appease, to satisfy demonic forces with prayers and offerings. And he immediately contradicts this point, saying that this is not a correct approach at all and it should not be followed. Okay, he believes that this approach should not be practiced. Okay, and he says that one must understand the difference between a fear-ridden vision of destiny and the vision that enables us to seek the enemy of fulfillment within ourselves. Because what happens is, when you tend to believe too much on spirits and all these things, what happens, the outcome of this particular belief is the fear-ridden vision of destiny. For instance, if we believe that it's basically because of spirits and all the demonic forces, what happens, we always have this fear in our mind towards our fate, because you create your own fate out of this fear. Okay, and basically you consider this your own sorrow to be a result of any spirit's anger, a particular spirit's anger. So as a result of which, what happens, you're not always happy, you're always fearful, and that's why you seek to please all these spirits and demonic forces through offerings, through all sorts of offerings, and which Abdul Kalam says that Abdul Kalam's father says that it must not be practiced. This approach should not be followed. What should be followed is that the vision, you have to have a vision that enables us to seek the enemy of fulfillment within ourselves. I'll tell you something, human beings have endless desires, okay. So the enemy of fulfillment is that we are never satisfied. The fulfillment has to be fulfilled again and again, again and again, again and again. One day you are happy, next day you are sad, third day you are not happy because you are comparing yourself with anybody else. So the desire is so endless within you, and as a result of which you are not happy. So Abdul Kalam's father, Yangchen L says that the enemy of fulfillment, okay, the root cause of your desire is within yourself. You have to look into yourself and not go around and look for something else. Okay, and ask help to people. The solution lies within yourself. You have to introspect, you have to see within yourself and not go for seek help from anybody else, as in terms of all these, satisfying and doing all sorts of offerings and prayers and believing that the existence of demonic forces and all other spirits. What he says is, you have to look within yourself. Timile afule afai bhitrama ti hernu parcha that the entire solution lies within you, and the problem that you are facing is also because of yourself. The enemy of fulfillment lies within yourself. That's why he says adversity always presents opportunities for introspection. So for instance, मानिहाल्नुहोस् अब तपाईँ बिमार भयो घरमा है, बिमार भयो घरमा, अनि त्यहाँदेखि त्यसमा तपाईँले के बिलिभ भने ला म बिमार भएको कारण त इट्स बेसिकली बिकज अफ कोही आत्मा, कोही स्पिरिट और कोही सेम फोर्सेसले पो गर्दा होला भनेर अब त्यतिकै तपाईँ डराइकन बस्यो भने व्हाट इज ह्यापनिङ, तपाईले होस् मेरो फेटै यस्तो रहेछ, मेरो भाग्य नै यस्तो रहेछ भनेर इफ यु डोन्ट डु एनिथिङ एन्ड जस्ट स्टे एट होम, यु विल क्रिएट अ फर्चुन फर योरसेल्फ, अ फेट फर योरसेल्फ विच इज फियरफुल, द्याट इज अ फियर रिटन विजन अफ डेस्टिनी, डराएर बसिरहेको. बट एट द अदर ह्यान्ड इफ यु थिङ्क नो आई एम इल, म बिमार छु, वाट इज द कज, वाट इज द प्रब्लम, वाट इज द रिजन अफ माई सफरिङ, म किन बिमार हुँदैछु? Probably because of lack of nutrients, probably because of so many other factors, probably because you had other deficiency in your body. So what you have to do, you are introspecting. You're putting your effort. This is fate versus effort. You're putting your effort. You're introspecting. Then you go to see a doctor. हिँडेर जानु पर्यो नि त, हिँडेर आफै गएर डक्टरलाई भेट्नु पर्यो. यु डिस्कस विथ डक्टर, यु काउन्सल विथ हिम, देन यु गेट मेडिसिन्स एन्ड द सफरिङ, देयर इज अ एन्ड टु योर सफरिङ. त्यति बेला पर्टिकुलर मोमेन्टमा युल गेट टु नो, युल ह्याभ योर मेडिसिन्स एन्ड देन युल बी फाइन. सो इन द्याट वे वाट्स ह्यापनिङ, तपाईँले आफ्नो एफर्ट लाउँदैछ, युआर इन्ट्रोस्पेक्टिङ, युआर वर्किङ. सो द्याट्स वाइ यु गेट टु नो द रिजन अफ योर, द्याट्स हाउ यु गेट टु नो द रिजन अफ योर सफरिङ. त्यतिकै हात बाँधेर you can't just sit and wait and destiny is going to knock me at my door and I'm going to enjoy the fruits of destiny. No, it is not going to happen. You have to work on your fate, you have to work on your destiny, you have to introspect on the troubles that you come across in life. Hambroma, whenever we have good things in life, we don't question, but the moment when things get ugly, when things get bad, when things get sorrowful, you question yourself, you question your existence, you question so many things in life. And that's how you have to introspect, that's how you have to find out the reason for your suffering, and that's how you will come to that particular solution. So this is what Abdul Kalam's father Yangchen L gives you, a clear perspective, two dissimilar views of a vision of destiny. He gives you one vision, fear-ridden vision of destiny, and one vision of destiny that says you have to find the enemy of fulfillment within yourself. तपाईले आफै माथि खोज्नु पर्छ, what is the reason for your own suffering. Okay, so these are the two approaches he gives, and the correct approach is that man has to find the enemy of fulfill within himself, meaning that he has to find the reason for his suffering. He has to see that he has endless desires, he has to cut down his desires and find the solution for himself, and not depend on what kind of vision of destiny, that is fear-ridden vision of destiny. Okay, no more going for believing in spirits, and no more satisfying all the demonic forces. Maybe that exists, that's a different story. Okay, maybe that exists, but human beings are not just to sit back and believe and live their life with much fear. They are supposed to act. They are not supposed to just believe. See, I'm sure you're aware now. One more thing is Jainullabbdin was a person who did not receive any formal education, but yet he has this very wise, deep thought in his mind. He's a person, he's a very wise person. That's why I'm sure he never had a fight, an argument with his friend, that is Pakshi Lakshmana Sastri, high priest of Rameshwaram temple. That's why they developed communal harmony. Why? Because they had this wonderful sense in their head. They had deep thought. They are man with ideas. And that's how he groomed, that's why he groomed Abdul Kalam, the missile man of India. And that's how it shaped Abdul Kalam's mind. His father was a man with profound ideas. Kaile bhanyo division रहेछ, I am Muslim, he is Hindu, and we should have a no. He always talked about communal harmony. He never abandoned people. He always helped people, but with a very profound and wise thought. Essentially, he was this is how he was educating his son. Okay. And this entire paragraph gives you an idea of fate versus effort. You can't just sit, you have to work. In a way, Abdul Kalam's father also says that whenever bad things happen to your life, you have to introspect. Human beings at the end has to work. You can't just sit back and cross your hand and believe bhagyama cha, so bhagyamai huncha sabai kura. No, you have to work for it. You have to work, you have to find happiness, you have to find sorrow, you have to know the reason for your sorrow, introspect. So whenever you are having trouble or bad times, or you are having pressurized by some things, always remember this particular line. I think you have to remember throughout your life. I am going to remember it throughout my life. That is, adversity always presents opportunities for introspection. And this is how Abdul Kalam beautifully ends his text, okay, with the lines saying, I have throughout my life tried to emulate my father in my own world of science and technology. From this particular line, you will understand that Abdul Kalam's father was a role model for him, and he always emulated means to copy, to imitate, okay, his father's idea in the world of science and technology. So the idea of adversity, the idea of prayer gave him strength, okay, gave him strength to move on in which world? In the world of science and technology. And I have endeavored means to struggle, always worked hard to understand the fundamental truths revealed to me by my father, and feel convinced that there exists a divine power that can lift one from confusion, misery, melancholy means sadness, and failure, and guide one to one's own true place. So from this particular line, you will understand that how significant was his father's role in building and shaping Abdul Kalam's mind. Okay, and he was convinced. He was convinced about the existence of divine manifestation, that is God. In one of his interviews, as I was reading, he said that he always believed that there was God, and through the tough times of his life, it is God who helped him. It's not that he just sat back, okay. He worked hard, and in that struggle, who lifted him up? It's the God. Probably he's the God who helped him to come out of his misery and melancholy. And he says, beautifully says that and once an individual severs his emotional and physical bond, he is on the road to freedom, happiness, and peace of mind. Abdul Kalam's father emotionally and physically detached himself from all the bondage, and he was more of like a visionary. He probably passed away as a bachelor, and he renunciated. He was more like a saint who renunciated from everything, from all the ties and bonds of life, and was a visionary and has a particular vision, and his work, that is the work that he has presented throughout the world, was his meditation. And that's how, led him to the pathway of happiness, success, and peace of mind. So in that way, you'll get to know this second half, or this entire text of Strong Roots, is a beautiful piece of advice from a father to a son. And from here you will understand that significant role of parents, in shaping children's or his child's life. Talking about the essence of the text, the Strong Roots, you'll get to know, you'll understand, and you'll see that the importance of parenting in Strong Roots. How important is the role of parent in shaping the child's mind? Throughout the entire text, Abdul Kalam talks about his father, his mother, the importance of their action, the ideas. At the end, the children are the replication or reflection of their parents. So it is very important for parents to groom their children. It's very important for parents to look into their action. How consciously they act in front of their children. It is very, very important. From this particular text, I get to see how a father wonderfully, advises his son. And this particular text also reminds me how in William Shakespeare's play Hamlet, that is a particular character, Polonius advises his son, beautifully advises his son. And there's 2-3 advices, like he says his son to be true to himself, to be friendly, but to be aware of false friends, and to be kind. So these are the instructions a father and a mother or a parent together give to their children. And this is how important it is in shaping the children's mind. Education is important. No wonder education is important, but more important is parenting. Education and parenting go hand in hand. So parents must understand that whatever they speak, whatever they do, however they act, the children are watching them. And at the end, they just become what their parents are. So it's very important. From this particular text, you'll get to know it's very important how parenting plays a very significant role in shaping up children's mind. Effort and introspection. So Abdul Kalam's father in a way gives us a hint, an idea that effort is important, introspection is important in life. You can't just sit back and cry over your sorrows and problems. You have to introspect, you have to work on it, and you have to find the reason and the cause of your own suffering, and try to look for the enemy of fulfillment within your own self. Then adversity and prayer. As I have already mentioned to you about the relevance of prayer. Prayer is helps the communion of spirit. It tries to bring the spirit between people. Talking about adversity and prayer. As I've already mentioned to you in the previous slides, the relevance of prayer, because prayer helps us to connect, to commune, with the divine manifestation and makes us a part of a world. It has no discrimination of caste, creed, anything. It helps us to be with ourselves. Then moving on to the next, education. Yes, as you all know, education is very important part in building up children's mind, or to civilize human, in short, right? And what plays a major role here is parenting. So you'll get to know good upbringing, proper teaching and conducive atmosphere plays a very, very important role in shaping future minds, in children's mind, or making us a good human being. So in short, these are the important aspects which Abdul Kalam's father, or which Abdul Kalam has highlighted in his story, in his text, that is Strong Roots. Now let's discuss question and answer. What, according to Kalam's father, does adversity present? Adversity presents an opportunity for introspection. What does Kalam's father say about the relevance of prayer? Kalam's father says that the prayer is a communion of spirit between people. This is not a correct approach at all. Who said this? The lines are said by Zainul Abidin, Abdul Kalam's father. What is the approach? Why is the approach not correct? So the approach is to drive away demonic forces, to satisfy or please demonic forces through prayers and offerings. And this approach is not correct, because this approach gives, is the result of a fear-ridden destiny. This gives rise to what destiny? Fear-ridden destiny. Okay. One must understand the difference between a fear-ridden vision of destiny and the vision that enables us to seek the enemy of fulfillment within ourselves. What do you mean by a fear-ridden vision of destiny? This means a destiny or a fate created out of fear. Okay, and what is the other vision? That is, the other vision is to find out to seek or to look for the enemy of fulfillment within ourselves. That is, to understand which is to be preferred. The second one is to be preferred. Why? Because we have to understand that the suffering is mainly because of the drawbacks and the flaws which human being has. Okay, so जे पनि दुःख घटना के घटेको हुन्छ त्यसको कारण चाहिँ के हो? हामी आफै कारण हो. त्यसमा हामी we only lack certain things. That's why we have to suffer. That's why he Kalam's father insists to follow the second approach and not follow the previous approach that will give rise to what? Fear-ridden vision of destiny. Okay. So, in this way I would like to end my session. I hope you understood, and stay motivated, study well. Your board exams are approaching. It's probably in April, so you have 2 months left in your hand. So study well and stay sane, stay motivated, and see you in the next class. Thank you so much.